Morning punters, happy Monday. Hope the week goes well. Huge day at Rose Hill Saturday with the 5 Group 1s. The clear rock stars were together. In Autumn Glow and James McDonald. James McDonald now officially the GOAT. Most amount of Group 1 wins in Australian racing history. Then Ryder and Autumn Glow genuinely could now be the next Wings. Vince Accardi on today's Year-Round Carnival podcast reckons 2000 she'll thrive, was his quote, which is interesting. And there's a strong argument through the data that we haven't seen her ceiling yet. And how scary is that? If you want a bit of a read about it, that's today's newsletter topic. So if you're a free registration to racetrackralphie.com.au, you'll get the newsletter which explains the theory behind we haven't seen the best of Autumn Glow yet. And that's Sydney. Caulfield, my goodness me. The Kangaroos Team of the Century coach, Dennis Pagan, who ironically is now a trainer, is quoted famously as often using the phrase, "Don't pee down my back and tell me it's raining." Well, yesterday, the Melbourne Racing Club got the trouser snake out and dampened all our t-shirts. The only thing worse than an error is compounding the error. I suppose in economics it's called the sunk cost fallacy. Caulfield presented a tip on Saturday. Now, there's years and years and years of data, and people who have their eyes open can see and tell apart from that. At Caulfield, when the rail's true, you don't want to be hard to fence. You don't want to be a bit off. And if you're a bit off and you're leading, it'll be very hard to run down. But if you sort of roll back a bit inside and the fields are big, the big swooping, strong closers can still win as well. Call it the Mark Zara special. Down those middle lanes. So historically, lanes 4 to 7 is ideal. On Saturday, if you weren't in lanes 6 to 8, you couldn't win. If you weren't in the best spots, you were in the worst spots. Picture a V, right? There's the V, and there's either side of those lanes. You could not win. And that was presented as a Group 1 day. It wouldn't have been acceptable in July or December. Yet yesterday, Michael Suey, I don't know, head of racecourses for the Melbourne Racing Club, told Betsy that overall they were comfortable with how the track played. If Michael genuinely thinks that, his position should be looked at. And I'm not here to scapegoat, advocate for anyone to lose their job. And to be clear, not because the track played poorly. Punters, jockeys, trainers, owners, curators, all get it wrong in this caper. And sometimes we get it right, and that's what keeps us going. But we're not mindlessly pressing a poker machine's button. We spend hours doing form based on years of prior passion. So we have an idea when it comes to prediction, and part of the passion for the role or the task or the recreational pursuit of trying to find a winner is trying to do form properly based on expectations of what you expect to happen, be it the speed of a race, be it how the track will play, be it whether a horse can handle wet or not. And on Saturday, that was all irrelevant. We were pushing poker machine buttons because the Melbourne Racing Club presented a tip. Now, what they should have said was pretty similar to what happened to the MCG after the Boxing Day test debacle. CEO Stuart Fox stood with his curator and said, "There's credit points in the bank. This bloke's got it right for years. That wasn't to our standards." We were really disappointed with how it played. But that said, here's why we made an error. Let me guess, without having gone near Caulfield, a few chins ago we used to run many laps in the past week. The rail was out 9 metres last week. It was fairly firm, but it's now March, not January. Meaning, of course, as we know, if we live in Melbourne, the nights get cooler. which means the ground's going to retain more moisture. So the rail goes back to the true. They heavily water the inside, and there was a clip that said from Sam Bennett's, the track manager, saying they were going to water on the Friday. They've watered on the Friday. They overdid it. They overdid it from, say, lanes 5 to lanes 1. That retained the moisture. Out a bit wider, got nearly no moisture, and or, because that's the fastest part of the track anyway, it went straight through the profile. Out wide was no advantage because that's where they have been racing. It was all chopped up. So there were 3 lanes in play. It was an error of judgment. We as punters make errors of judgment all the time. Sometimes we get it right. We make errors of judgment. It's a prediction caper. No different to curators. But after you get it wrong, don't treat customers like morons. There was no other explanation other than we made a judgment call, we got it wrong, we were disappointed with the way the track played. But our previous 12 months said that we generally get it right.